Eli seems to be missing again. Be on the lookout for him. Do you know where he is? You may get him. Hey, who knows where he is? Oh, you know where he is? There he is. Come on, Eli, tell us a story. What was the first, the wandering mule? What was the first week? What did Eli tell us about? The angels. And then last week, what did Eli tell us about? They were packing it up, weren't they? He wasn't a wandering mule, he was a pack mule last week. He was going on the journey. And this week, we are reading about no room in the inn. When we finally reached Bethlehem, things didn't go very well. As it turns out, Joseph, in all of his hurry, forgot to book us a hotel room. Every place we went was full to the brim with people who had returned home for their registration. Mary was not pleased. They knocked and knocked, but everyone said the same thing: we have no room in our inn. It was starting to get cold and dark when we got to the final house on the edge of the town. Joseph knocked on the door. A short man peeked around the door. "Hello," he said. Joseph asked if the man had any room in his house for them to stay. The man looked at Joseph's tired face, pregnant Mary, and me with my aching back. "My rooms are full, but if you are really desperate, I can make space in my stable with the animals. It's a bit smelly, but there's lots of warm hay." Mary raised her eyebrows, but Joseph was already following the man around the back gate. All right, that's all we're going to read today. All Eli's going to tell us today. The part of today's story is about making room for Jesus. In this case, we were making room for Jesus as mom and dad, weren't we? Did you make room for Jesus? You did? You want to tell me how?
We always clear the way.
You do? You clear the way? You use a broom? No? All right, here's some things I want. Do you line up straight in two rows at your house? And you can walk down the middle. Do y'all dance down the middle too? You dance down the middle? You wait on Jesus to come down the middle? I want you to think about these places. Do we make room for Jesus in our calendars? That's a tough thing to do these days, isn't it? During Christmas, when things are chorus concerts and band concerts, and you still have ball practice, and end of course exams, and then you got to get to the Christmas party and nativities and church services, and don't forget the practices. Is there still room left on your calendar for Jesus? There is. I hope so, because that's what all those other things this time of year are about. What about at home? Owen says he makes room for Jesus at home. Do you save him a place at the dinner table? You do? Tristan says it. Y'all got an extra chair for Jesus at the dinner table? Yeah. 2 extra chairs for Jesus. So he can bring a friend. That's awesome. Yeah, you do too? A lot of them?
Yeah, we have some in our attic and we have
Man, there's all kinds of space for Jesus in your house. But our family, we like to say the blessing before. We also like to tell him thank you for what we're about to eat. But I suppose if Jesus wanted to join us, there's probably extra chicken. What about, is there extra room for Jesus in your bank account? That's what the book says. But how about in your piggy bank? You got a little extra money. Is there extra room for Jesus there?
No.
Tristan's got some extra money. Oh, it's not. A small piggy bank? Do you ever give some to Jesus? You bring it to church and give it to Jesus? What about, is there room for Jesus at school with you? Is there room in your book bag? Oh, there's a lot of head shaking on that one. There's no room in your book bag for Jesus. The extra desk in your classroom? You know what the great thing about Jesus is? He don't really need an extra spot at the dinner table. He don't even need a chair or a desk. He can be there with you. You can take Jesus all these places. So you gonna take Jesus with you? You got it under control. I'm glad to get it. I hope all of y'all have it under control. So while these folks in the town of Bethlehem, there was no room for Mary and Joseph to lay their head to go to sleep that night. I hope that all of us find room in our schedules, on our calendar, in our schools and book bag, and at the dinner table, even at night when we go to bed and say our prayers. I hope that you all find room for Jesus as we wait on the next part of the story. Okay. Dear God, remind us that there should always be room for you wherever it is we're traveling to or where we're sitting, and always keep you in our hearts and in our minds. In your name we pray. Amen.